Forsaken just released one of the more interesting survivors into its game, Jane Doe, a fascinating character based on actual Roblox history. And now one of these new survivors is Jane Doe. But what is her story? Well, to get to Jane Doe, you actually have to go outside of the cabin and into this basement here. You'll see a sign that says Jane's stuff, stay out. And once you enter it, you'll see Jane Doe yourself, just sitting there focused on something, not even acknowledging you whatsoever. Yeah, if you try talking to her, she's just kind of talking to herself. So yeah, here she reveals that John Doe is her husband and he's been corrupt by this thing, the Spectre. The real John Doe wouldn't actually hurt a fly. And we're gonna talk about her and John Doe's history in a little bit, but remember, the whole point of Forsaken is that all these survivors are stuck in a loop. The Spectre got all these killers to constantly attack the survivors. They do this over and over again for many years.
And now I find myself here in everything. I still feel so far away from a solution. I just feel so lost.
You notice that Jane goes silent. She fiddles with her fingers.
I barely remember why I started this all. I just fell into this pit of obsession. It shrouded my eyes, took everything from me. I barely remember his face.
Yeah, so Jane Doe drops a whole bunch of lore as to what actually happened to her. Like in the real world, she was trying to investigate the whole John Doe disappearance, but then she felt the Spectre's presence. But she didn't really care. She even says so herself. There was nothing for her to leave behind, so she accepted his presence and then woke up in the world of Forsaken. Or at least was on a strange base plate, which from there she was able to see all the games occur. But yeah, after this conversation, you do notice her fiddle with her fingers. Then you're given the final task, which is actually a Caesar cipher that translates to beware of a false one. Yeah, pretty much with this last quest, you're supposed to go and find Jane Doe's wedding ring, and upon returning it, she finally says this.
What? My ring! John, I made that promise to you, that we'll stand together side by side, till death do us part. I forgot the very person who started this all. I know that deep down John is in that husk. Thank you. You allowed me to realize what I needed to remember. I fell into this obsession, but I had lost myself within it as well. I can only do so much from down here. Hiding away in here and reminiscing on the past will get me nowhere. This cycle of sorrow and grief it made will never truly be broken. But what I can do is do everything that I can for him.
And with that, Jane Doe joins the other survivors and enters the game herself, trying to rescue her husband, John. But now, what is the lore between Jane Doe and John Doe? What was their history? Well, thanks to this Twitter post, we actually do have some background between these two. Like, we know that both John and Jane Doe worked at Roblox headquarters, serving the Roblox admins, often assigned to test faulty codes. Yeah, one of the bullet points on here says, if you asked him, John would tell you that Jane Doe was the best thing that ever happened to him. It also says here that Jane's intense drive for answers could sometimes cloud her better judgment. John was the opposite, easygoing and lacking personal drive. It made him the perfect vessel. Yeah, like for Jane Doe's Milestone 1 skin, it's her in her Roblox uniform, with the text even saying,
our lives were simple. I was ambitious, you were reserved, but we loved each other. Nothing could take that away from us.
Yeah, so everything was fine between these two. They both loved each other very much, but then the downfall would happen on March 18th, 2017. John Doe was exposed to a highly destructive parasite composed of old defunct Roblox code. The parasite would spread through his body, consuming his identity and memories, causing him to forget his wife, Jane Doe. Yeah, so this is John Doe's Milestone 1 skin. You can see he's in his Roblox employee uniform, but with the virus spreading all throughout his body. Yeah, it's important to know that John Doe is actually still alive, just fully sustained by the parasite invading him. Yeah, we're able to find some more lore by looking at John Doe's Milestone skins. For the Milestone 1 skin, it's Jane Doe speaking, and she says,
oh, John, what's become of you?
In Milestone 2, the text says,
that bright spark in your eyes is gone now.
And then for the Milestone 3 skin, it reads,
tears ran down my face and I could barely recognize you.
And then shortly after all this, John Doe would simply vanish. We know this because in Jane Doe's Milestone 2 skin, it reads,
the day you vanished, my world came crashing down. A result of my own faults and errors corrupted you.
So Jane Doe remains heartbroken and blames herself for all of John Doe's corruption. Yeah, rumors began to spread as to what exactly happened on March 18th. Like, a lot of people began to blame Jane Doe for John's disappearance, while while others believed that John was plotting to one day come back and take over Robloxia. Again, this is a reference to all the fake rumors that actually did occur in real life, where people believed that John Doe was going to hack Roblox on March 18th, 2017. Yeah, then something strange started happening to Jane Doe's home. A strange black substance started growing around her house, with her neighbors giving her the nickname Mold Girl. But she didn't let that get to her. No, she actually started to investigate and try to figure out what happened to her husband.
I did what I could, chased every lead, turned every corner. My obsession with grief grew. Everywhere I turned, you weren't there.
Yeah, this is her Milestone 3 skin, and I find it to be quite interesting. Like, all these pictures she has hanging off her hat, I imagine they're images of John Doe. And I say this because this is the full render of the Milestone 3 skin. It's actually a photo of John Doe that was taken on March 18th, the day of his corruption. But we get these 3 folders, one of Shaletsky, Justicar, and Builderman. And she is very angry with all 3 of them. Because remember, all 3 of these guys used to work at Roblox, with Jane Doe included. She blames all of them for what happened to John Doe. Like here for Shaletsky, she writes, "His warm smile still remains, but something permeates it. Every smile feels forced, as if he's putting on an act. Whenever mentions of 1 by 1 by 1 by 1 comes up, he seems to grow quiet, trying to change the topic if he can. He's tied to the being of poisoned hatred in some way." So yeah, in case you don't know, Shaletsky is the reason for 1 by 1's creation, but Shaletsky hasn't told the others about this. He's trying to keep it a secret from all the other survivors because he doesn't want them to hate him. But yeah, then on the right side of this folder, we get some more lore between these two. She writes how he always wondered how he could improve and change Robloxia for the better. How I miss those days. The next folder is Justicar, where she writes, "He wants out just like the rest of us. I'm sorry, Justicar. You don't deserve this fate." Yeah, so Justicar, out of these 3, she was somewhat nicer too. But then when we get to Builderman, we see this. "Lazy, this is your fault." Yeah, the picture is also scratched out. She also writes how Builderman had this most amazing way of speaking. Felt like every word really meant something. We really believed in him, didn't we? It wasn't until later on that the cracks started to show. This was something big, larger than all of us, and I watched him deny every bit of it. Builderman would always reassure us that the admins had it under control, but just about everyone in HQ could see past it. Yeah, and even in the game, Jane Doe does actually have some interesting conversations with some of these characters. Like with Builderman, the one that she hates the most, you can actually see him feeling bad about everything. "I'll always be here for you, Jane."
Here for me. Where were you for the... What about Doombringer? How is he doing?
He's,
Not now.
Jane, I've been worried about you, and...
No. I am the last person you should be concerned with.
Yet something else I find interesting is the 4th milestone skin for John and Jane Doe. Like, this is Jane Doe's right here, and then this is John's, with John Doe's description even reading, "A suit worn at funerals and celebrations." With Jane Doe's description reading,
"As I wallow in grief, I confine myself to this misery. How can I save you all if I can't save myself?"
Yet, so through all this, Jane Doe is trying to rescue John Doe and bring him back from whatever's possessing him. But the unfortunate truth is, if you were to completely separate the parasite from John Doe, he would end up dying. Yet, that's right, even in this full corruption, this is John Doe still alive. He's just infected by the parasite. And now many of you would actually be wondering, would a possessed John Doe actually kill Jane Doe in the world of Forsaken? And the answer to that is no, he wouldn't. It's actually written right here that John Doe still holds a subconscious love for Jane Doe and would hesitate or even refuse to kill her if he recognized her. Not even the parasite or the specter can tear their love apart. Only death can truly separate them. Which is why the specter blocks out Jane Doe's face and makes it so that John Doe is unable to recognize her. And yeah, you can actually do this yourself. If you're playing as John Doe and are running up to a Jane Doe, you'll see this black blurb covering her. Because if John Doe was to actually see her face, he may end up betraying the specter. Yeah, it's a situation where she's about to strike with her axe, but then she ends up resisting, not being able to fully go through with it. Will Jane Doe be able to rescue her husband and all these other survivors? Let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to subscribe. Goodbye.